I'm Caleb Jameson, and this is the Turtle Safe Toy Box, which in this video I'll be showing you how to build. For more information on this, you can go to turtlesafetoybox.org or on Facebook, go to Turtle Safe Toy Box. So for this project, I've included the following materials, and the list of these materials for this project will be listed on the comment section below. So step one of this project is to cut the lattice board into 6 different sections. 4 of the 6 sections will be a 2 feet by 3 feet section, and then the last 2 will be approximately about a 2 foot by 2 foot section. So one tip that worked really well for me is to have the 3 feet measured from each side separately, so going back from each side. That way when you draw the lines are on the lattice seams every time. So now that our lines are drawn, we're going to cut the lattice into 6 different sections. Things you need to make sure you do while doing this is to make sure your lattice is secure and to make sure that you're wearing safety glasses or some form of eye protection. Alright, so now that we've completed our cuts, we have all of our sides, the front, back, the bottom, the left side, and the right side. And when we finish, we'll have one extra piece of lattice, and with this lattice, make sure you either reuse it or recycle it. So now for step 2, we're going to cut and assemble the frames for the lattice board sections. So for the first 2 edges, we're going to mark and cut 8 2-foot sections. So now that we've cut our 8 2-foot pieces, we're now going to cut each one of these at a 45-degree angle. The important part of this is that the lattice side is on the bottom and the flat side is on the top. When we finish cutting it, we're going to want it to fit together like a picture frame. Alright, so now that we've finished our 2-foot 45-degree angle cut pieces, now we're going to move on to the top piece that was 2 foot and 1/4 of an inch. And this one is going to be a 45-degree angle cut on both sides of it instead of just one side like the other ones. So now for our last 2 edges, we're going to cut out a 3-foot piece, a 3-foot and a 1/2 inch piece, and a 2 foot and 1/4 of an inch piece. So now that we have our edging for the lattice sections complete and cut, we'll have 2 3-foot edging pieces left over, and you're just going to put those aside because we'll use them later for the bottom of the project. So to put together our lattice sections, we're going to take our edging and line it around the outside, and then we're going to take our 3/32 drill bit to drill in our pilot holes. The key to this, the pilot holes, is to make the screws a little bit easier to go into, and when drilling them, you need to make sure you get both through the edging and the lattice. As far as how many they go, you go 4 on top and 3 on each side. Also, one more tip for screwing these screws in. When you do it, make sure not to over tighten, or else the screws will not hold into the plastic. So now that we're doing our side panels, we're going to do, we have to remember that this lattice section was approximately 2 feet by 2 feet. It's really 2 feet by 1 foot and 11.5 inches. The edging works best when you assemble it if you put the top edging piece on the side that is 1 foot and 11.5 inches. Once you have all these on, you secure it by 3 screws on top and 2 screws on the side. So now that we've finished step 2 by putting the edging around all of the lattice sections, we're going to move on to step 3, which is securing all of the sections to the posts. So for the next part of the project, we're going to attach our front and back sections. And in order to do this, we're going to mark about a 3/4 inch from the top of the post to allow enough room for the cap. So as we start to secure our front and back sections, we want to grab our 1/8 drill bit, our weatherproof screws, and a square head drill bit. You need this in order to drill in these screws. Because these screws are a little bit difficult to use, or a little tricky, we use them because they work really well in the weather. And because it's going out on the beach, it's done a lot better just standing up to the weather. As we begin to put our screws into this, we make sure that it's straight both on our black lines that we drew, and we make sure that it's straight going all the way down the pole. So to secure this section to the pole, we're going to use 1 screw on top and 2 on each side for each pole. Alright, so for the next step, before we put on the sides of our box, we're going to take the edging pieces that we had laid aside earlier, and we're going to put it on these poles as a support for the bottom of our box. And we're going to put it 21 inches down the pole. 21 inches. So in order to secure our edging, the bottom edging, we're going to take 2 of the flathead screws, and we're going to put two in each pole. And so when we're securing this, we need to make sure that the flat part of the edging is pointing towards the top. Alright, so now that we've finished our rails for the bottom, we're going to flip our box upside down, and we're going to attach the side panel. A tip for attaching the slide panel would be to put the caps in front of the posts, which will give the side panel's leverage as you screw into it, and it'll show you how high it needs to be. When you put on the side panel, you need to make sure again that it's lined up with the post, going straight, and you secure it to the post by using 2 of the square head screws per post. And the tip for attaching the screws would be to not let them intersect with the other screws on the other side of the corner. Okay, so now that we've finished the sides of our box, we need to put the bottom in. In order to make the bottom fit inside of the box, we need to cut off a 4-inch square off of each one of these corners. Alright, so now that we've finished cutting out the corners of our bottom piece, we're going to put it inside of the box, and we're going to secure it to the bottom, put 4 of our smaller screws on each one of the bottom rails. Alright, so as we drill our pilot hole, we need to make sure that the pilot hole that we're drilling is in the middle of the bottom railing. Alright, so now we've completely, successfully finished our Turtle Safe toy box. We just have to put on our caps. Be sure not to super glue these down yet, because we'll do that when we install the actual box. I'll show you how to install the Turtle Safe toy box on my next video, so make sure you watch that. Show you when to super glue them and how to correctly install it. To learn more, go to turtlesafetoybox.org or on Facebook at Turtle Safe Toy Box. Thank you.